Tommy, I'm gonna have you get me some samples real quick. Let's just pretend that we've done loads of experimentation, and these are the most awesome sounds we can possibly get.
Okay.
Given the time, let's go ahead and like I said, to those of you out there or whatever, I normally take samples as just a precaution. In this case, just in case he hits a rim shot and we need a clean tom sample to pull from, or if we want to beef up the drums with some sample replacement, I'll talk about that later. Also, like I said, for certain styles of music, if you want more of a processed sound, it's a lot of times you want more consistent. Like for metal, you want a really consistent kick drum. It's really common to replace the kick drum with a sample. And I personally prefer to use the sample of the actual real kit.
Oh, okay.
So that it has a character and things like that. You can use pre-processed stuff, but then it sounds like somebody else could use that exact same kit, and it's going to sound the same as somebody. So I like to use the drummer's kit and do the processing myself, make the sample myself. So that's what we'll do now, and I'll just go through that process with Tommy real quick. And I usually just throw my samples out. If you notice, I do whole records in one session. That's one thing I haven't mentioned yet. Most people do separate sessions for each song. I'm different, and it makes it, to me, it's more efficient. There's a few drawbacks, but there's too many positives in doing so. Like all the modern computers can handle this. But I normally just do my drum samples like outside. Records can only be 80 minutes long on a CD these days. So I'm at 90 seconds, I'm doing my drum samples, just so people at home know. Cool, Tommy. Yeah, let's start with the kick drum. Just give me like 8 light hits, 8 medium hits, and 8 hard hits, relatively slow, please.
Okay.
Cool.
Oh,
That was the light hits?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, do the medium hits.
Go.
Perfect. Cool. And let's do the snare. Do left and right.
Okay.
8 light, 8 medium, 8 hard. You can do them a little faster, just so we can get through it. Sorry, but can you start with the light ones? Just start a little lighter than that. Like if you're like kind of ghost stroke, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you've done the hard ones, those are the medium. Yeah, do the hard ones. That's good. Just for those of you out there, like I said, I usually just get 8 different dynamic samples from each drum. But just for speed, Tommy, just this, for demonstration, do each tom, just do like 8 nice solid hits on each tom.
Okay.
But for those of you out there, normally, like I said, I'll do light, medium, and hard.
Okay.
But for these demonstration purposes, we can just roll with the hard ones. And then on
Right,
the
left,
cymbals,
or
when you
just-
do the cymbals, just hit each one of them just once, nice and hard, and then let it fully decay before you hit the next one.
Okay.
Awesome, that should be fine for now. But for those of you watching, like I said, normally I will go through all the drums, all the cymbals.
Yeah.
On the ride, I'll have the drummer give me some bell samples if he plays
Okay.
bell, some ride samples if he plays ride. Sometimes the cross stick on the snare.
Yep.
Just anything I could use to maybe I might need to enhance the mix or to repair any performances, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Pretty standard stuff. But should we go ahead and track real quick?
Yeah.
Like a song? Yeah, let's do that real. Tommy, we'll have you go ahead and you want to go ahead and track it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Tim, we got the great sounds. You're warmed up, like I said normally, and I've lectured you on anything that you're doing wrong, which you're not doing anything
Everything.
wrong that I can see. So
Okay.
just vibe out, man. Just groove, have a good time, and just harness whatever emotion or energy that is it's within the song, man. Just put it in there, whatever you're talking about. So you know the lyrics, so. Like I said, I'm not concerned with timing so much, or I'm not concerned with a rim shot here or there, dynamics. I just want a good, solid energy take, stuff I can't do anything about in the final. Here we go. Perfect. That's gonna. Hey, that's a great because I can go over the punch in. But just start from before you messed up, and then we'll punch in. But yeah, like I said, for those of you at home, I'm yelling, aren't I? But for those of you at home or whatever, like I said, Tommy didn't record these originally, so he's kind of doing some improv. And normally, like I said, with the improv stuff, I would just kind of, let the drummer go through and just take the best of. So let's just say we really like everything you've done so far just to get through this.
Okay.
Say everything's great up to there, and I'll just take it from before you messed up, and you can just play along, and I'll just punch you in.
Okay. First time through.
Do you have any idea where you don't have any idea where you're at, right?
Just start at the beginning of the verse.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Awesome. How'd you feel?
Okay.
I felt great. Obviously, like normally I would go through and listen to everything, and but let's just say, hey, we've listened to that. That's a great take.
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention, and most of you guys probably know this, but on Pro Tools to punch in, you have to have quick punch enabled.
Right.
And let's see, where is that? It's under setup options. So just click on this quick punch feature,
okay.
And I'm sure all the other DAWs have something similar to that.
Cool.
But when you punch in, one thing, like I said, you have to. Luckily, Tommy miraculously played the same tom fill before where I punched him in, like I punched him in the middle of the verse. So the tom bleed was there. So when you punch in, especially when the drummer's improvising, you want to check to make sure the cymbal bleed is the same and that kind of stuff. But I'm repairing my punch right now. Because the computer, even if you're perfect on your timing, the computer has like a lag when it actually punches. And as most of you guys know, you can stretch the regions. Because Pro Tools in particular is always recording when these are armed.
Yep.
So I think most of you guys probably know that. And obviously you want to crossfade that. I do like a batch fade where it's just on my keyboard, it's Apple F. I guess it's Command F now. But I usually use just a standard fade, or maybe just an equal gain fade, but pretty quick, like 3 milliseconds on drums.
Do you want to take questions?
Sure.
Okay. Milton wants to know, what do you do when the drummer really likes the first take, but you're not convinced with the tones? So in other words, you know that you could probably get better tones, or that's not what's going to work out in the end best, but the drummer's just like, that sounds smashing right now.
Yeah, I usually just, because I'll tell the drummer, hey, let's keep that take. Let's do another.
Sure.
Let's mess with the tones a little bit more and just do some other takes. And I don't think I think. I guess if over time, like I think I've become a respected engineer producer, and a lot of people are like, dude, I really think it can be better, and I think you can get the good take again. Most people were pretty open-minded to that. It's just it's to be a matter of convincing. I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I had to convince somebody like, somebody was like, dude, that's the take, and I had to like argue.
Talk them out of it.
Yeah. I mean, because if there's like I said, a vocalist gets like this awesome emotional take, but then like there's the mic cut out. I mean, what do? You have to redo it, and it's terrible, but things happen. So
Totally. Do you find in-ears better for tracking than headphones? Are they better at controlling bleed, or is that just what Tommy?
yeah, Tommy's got some custom-made in-ears. In-ears are great because there's minimal bleed. But yeah, for drum tracking, I actually use headphones at home. I have the extreme isolated headphones, or Vic Firth makes some isolated headphones. And but yeah, I think it's important, especially for any mic'd instrument or vocalist and stuff, to use some pretty isolated headphones, some full ears like these. The Sony 7506s are pretty good. These are pretty industry standard headphones, but they cover your complete ear. And then if you wanted to do a one ear off thing, you can put it against your head so that the sound's not bleeding outside into the mic. Some of the more inexpensive headphones, like if there's a lot of bleed, then it could be a problem. A little bleed's not a problem. A little bleed's almost normal on a vocal mic and sometimes drums or whatever. Sometimes you'll hear a click faintly in the background if you isolate the drums. But if you can't hear it in the mix at all, then you're fine.
Okay.
But yeah, I recommend the isolated, either in-ears or the extreme isolation headphones.
Okay. Cool. I think we're good on questions.
Awesome. But yeah, Tom, let's see. It's in here. Tom, do you want to listen to that and see if you're satisfied with that? And one thing I always do, I just have a habit of hit save. I have my Pro Tools is set up for auto save every 5 minutes, but I hit save constantly because, for obvious reasons.
Awesome.
I think it's killer.
I mean, yeah, if it's workable for you, it's not perfect by any means. But
There's like I said, and it's great because there's a few moments where it's a little bit ahead of the clip.
Yep.
And that's one thing I want to say to the viewers. Obviously, like if we came into this like, hey, we want to do completely organic, no editing type approach, we'd need to touch up a few spots because there's a few hits that are ahead behind the beat. There's maybe a dynamic discrepancy here or there. But for the sheer fact that I know that I'm going to quantize this, it's kind of an industry thing nowadays. People kind of expect stuff to be in time. It sounds best to most people. It sounds best to me when everything's spot on in time. But plus, it gives us opportunities for. This song doesn't have any synthesizers, but if we wanted to sequence any synthesizers, then that makes it easy to do that. Percussive elements of the music. There's a whole host of reasons why quantizing is a really useful thing to do or whatever. But since I know I'm going to quantize this, I'm not worried about those few early hits and whatever. So yeah, I think we're golden with that.
Okay.
I think the tones are all solid. You hit the drums consistently, dynamically, and it passes my litmus test or whatever. It's a good,
Yeah.
So if you're happy with it, I'm happy with it. And
That's fine.
We can move forward.
Yeah.
Cool. We're getting some questions, Jamie, about converters. Actually, a lot of questions. We get all your questions that are coming through. So what converters do you prefer? What do you like?
I've just got the DigiDesign 192.
Okay.
It's just a factory standard converter. Like specs wise, they spec out among the highest in the industry.
Yep.
A lot of people don't like when you A/B, like with some, they have an Apogee converter here or whatever. When you A/B against like an Apogee to me like are fantastic sound and they're very clean. They feel like they have some hype in the high and low end,
Yep.
which kind of alters the sound a little bit. And often that's a kind of a desirable thing. But for me, I just like a clean, just natural, conversion.
Transparent.
Yeah, something that doesn't change my sound at all. I want to capture the preamp and the mic as they are,
Sure.
things like that. So I'm fine with the 192.
Awesome. Let's see. Kyle wants to know: do you use the compression circuit on the UA4 710D? Do you ever use?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, at home I'm normally using. I don't use any UA4s.
okay.
So it's just for here or whatever. But yeah, I normally wouldn't use compression on drums. The only thing I use compression for is inline would be with vocals or maybe acoustic guitar, and we'll talk about that in the later segments.
Awesome.
Probably tomorrow.
Evan wanted to know, and this one got 4 votes. What do you do about any phase issues making your drum sound thinner, and what would you do about unwanted bleed and using gates naturally?
Gotcha. Yeah, as far as phase, obviously we didn't really go over the, actually mic, the angles and things like that of the mics, but that's important or whatever as far as the drums, like
distance of overhead, so the snare.
yeah,
things like that.
there's some math and things that go that you can use to make sure there's no phase problems or whatever. But I just trust my ears. Usually you can hear phase. There's a weird EQ cancellation. Like, hey, why does my to me that's one of the things when I was soloing out the tracks, I'm listening for phase, like with my overheads and I listen to the whole drum soloed, and there's some quick things you can do, like the top and bottom mics. You usually want to have the phase, flipped or whatever, and you can do that with the plug-in, as well. And a lot of hardware you can do the phase reversal, but well, I actually don't have it on this one, whatever, because my preamp was flipped at home. But like for this instance, like the bottom mic, there's this little phase button or inversion. And you just click the button and so it's going to be an inverted polarity. So my top is just normal, and then my under snare mic. Same thing with the inside and outside kick. I reverse the phase on one so there's no cancellation. And with the overheads, like I said, in the room mics, like I said, just make sure, what causes the phase is this mic's picking up the same signal as this mic. Or this mic's picking up the same signal as this mic. So just make sure you just try to envision their pickup pattern, and just make sure they're not picking up a lot of each other's signal.
You'd be all right.
Yeah, I don't think that you don't have to break out a slide rule and do a mathematical. People say, "Oh, it's supposed to be this ratio."
Measure it
and
exactly. Yeah.
put it on there and listen to it. If
to
it sounds fine, it's fine.
Cool.
And I think it's one of those things where it might be worth, if you don't know what phase sounds like, it might be worth experimenting. I mean, just think of a guitar phaser. I've noticed it in nature when you walk, when you're in a concert or something, you walk from one side of the concert to the other, you can actually hear the flanger phaser sound. And it's because you're hearing, your hearing's changing, like which speakers you're hearing is changing, and it gives you a phase type of sound.
Yep.
It's what the effects, and so that's, if you've got that type of, almost like a half-cocked wah guitar, if you're a guitar player. If you know what a half-cocked wah sounds like, you might have some phase issues. Yep. And we'll talk about it's really noticeable in guitar, and really just completely blatant. So I think we'll talk about that.